Kher Saab has been very influential in my life, and he has been, kind of a guiding light. I still remember the first time I auditioned as in because to get into the school you have to audition and you have to prepare a scene and then they give you a scene then and there. So I prepared a scene from one of the plays I had done in the past. It's called Phandi by Fateh, and I did that. And he immediately asked, "Acha, kisne likha hai? Jante ho?" So I said, "Yeah, sir, I know this is what." And all and I kept answering, and then he was like, "Acha, ghar hai yahan pe Mumbai mein?" I was like, "No, sir, I don't have a house here." I was like, "तो ढूंढ लो, किराए पे ढूंढ ढूंढ पाओगे?" कहा, "सर ढूंढना तो पड़ेगा." "हाँ, तो ठीक है, ढूंढ लो फिर, आ जाओ, तुम्हारा एडमिशन हो गया, ढूंढ लो, घर ढूंढ लो."
Maybe when Kesar was telling you to get a house in Mumbai, he was being realistic because I've heard my friends who are now cinematographers and they're working in production houses in Mumbai. They tell me that it's impossible to find a house in Mumbai.
Yes, and especially if you're working in the film industry and a bachelor, it's impossible.
Very good evening. Welcome back to Sources Say. I'm joined by Aashiesh Sharrma, who needs absolutely no introduction. You've seen him on television, you've seen him on the big screen, and he's even turned into a producer very recently. Aashiesh ji, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Swarajya.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Swarajya. Thank you, Sharan. Finally, we get to talk.
Unfortunately, as soon as your movie also released, you had a busy schedule, and even I was traveling, and we were supposed to do this long ago. But anyway, the subjects that we are going to speak about, it's also about your life. It's also related to the movies that you've done. And I think essentially, even if you touch upon subjects which are very historical in nature, they have a relevance which are perennial, like Chandragupta Maurya, for instance.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you as somebody who's new to you and your content, because I've heard about the shows that you've made, but in the South we don't consume a lot of Hindi soap ops or even movies for that matter, but it's slowly increasing. But I found the kind of roles that you don to be very, very interesting, and the landscape shift that perhaps the cinema industry is going through in Bollywood is very interesting, especially at a juncture when movies like Hindutva is coming. So let me begin by asking a little introduction about our podcast. So Sources Say is the special show that I host, where I invite all kinds of people from all walks of life, and we have a freewheeling conversation. Because आजकल ना media landscape इतना polarized हो चुका है, nobody can actually have a free conversation without being politically correct all the time. So we invite all kinds of people, and you can say anything that you want as long as we don't get into too much trouble. That's it. So this is a freewheeling conversation.
Yeah.
So let me begin by asking you, what was your journey like? Because everybody I've spoken to and I've asked about, I heard one thing is that you are a self-made man. So how has this journey been for you, Aashiesh?
If I look back on these 12, 15 years since I left Jaipur, because I initially hailed from Jaipur, Rajasthan, and I came to Mumbai to be an actor. And if I say that, by that I mean I wanted to learn acting. So I had come here to learn and not just, be a star or, be dazzled by the whole razzmatazz of Mumbai and films and an entertainment industry, because usually that's what happens, especially up north, because kids, young kids really get influenced by the whole razzmatazz of the entertainment industry. And they just come here starry-eyed, trying to be a star or, famous, basically. So that was not the idea for me, because I come from a family where nobody is related to the film industry. First of all, I come from a very average middle class family, a Brahmin family. I've had a very regular upbringing, but by regular I mean there's something special in it, and it's by special I mean because my father was a bureaucrat and now he's retired. He was into Rajasthan Administrative Services, and but at heart he was a poet and a writer. And he used to write a lot, and there are a lot of his compilations of his ghazals and poems, and he used to publish used to write and publish एक आध्यात्मिक spiritual magazine called Suksar about spiritual leaders and their teachings, and then the interpretation of them. So my upbringing had those inclinations also, because that was the environment within the family, within the house, and there were a lot of books around, and there was a lot of talks on spirituality and cinema, especially. So my mother loved cinema, and she used to make me watch a lot of films. And by films, I mean films like Garam Hawa and Mirch Masala,
Right.
and the whole Farooq Sheikh and Deepti Nawal wave that came. So that's the kind of cinema I grew up on.
Right.
So in that nascent age when you are influenced by such things, so your thought process tends to become like that. It starts developing in such a way. And then there were books around. I don't remember a single night when I saw my father sleeping without a book on his chest. So
Right.
that's what happened with me also. And slowly I took after him, and there were books all around. So I had them to read. So I grew up reading from Chekhov to Munshi Premchand. So that was the range of the things that I grew up with. And so that's how it all started. And when I came to Mumbai, so my father had said one thing is that if you want to take up acting, then learn it. Take it up as a serious profession. Educate yourself in the field of wherever you are going, because just going there, landing up without knowing no one, is not going to help you. So only thing that will help you is you. And so prepare yourself so well that you don't need anybody else. So that's what that was one motto with which I came to Mumbai, is that I need
Right.
to be so well prepared that I don't need anybody to fall back on, first of all. And second of all, because see, we all know that in this field, if you do not know anybody, first thing that comes to your mind is that who to go to, who to approach, where to find work.
Everybody
You
has a
can learn as
godfather.
much as you yeah. And so which door to knock on, where to land, which office you go to, you have no idea, and you have to find everything yourself. You're on your own. And I was what, hardly 21, 22, and just out of college. So, but I had a balanced head on my shoulders because of my upbringing, because of whatever I values and, teachings that I grew up with. So, I knew that I'll find my way, but it'll take time, first of all, and second of all, it'll take a lot of patience and a lot of persistence. And I started learning that as time grew, and but I wouldn't say that I struggled to find food, but I struggled to find my footing, for sure, like anybody else who comes new to the industry. And
Right.
that's how I started preparing myself, because I had nobody to look back to, or I had nobody to guide me. But thankfully, the school I landed in is Actor Prepares, Anupam Kher's Actor Prepares, and Kher Saab has been very influential in my life, and he has been kind of a guiding light, because being Kher Saab, and still we were just young kids. He was readily available, and he was approachable, and uh, we never saw a celebrity in him, and when we saw was like an elderly in the house, and that's how he approaches you also.
Yeah.
That's the kind of approach he has with us, with his students. And I don't know, there was uh, something special with him since the beginning. And I still remember the first time I audition as in, because to get into the school you have to audition, and you have to prepare a scene, and then they give you a scene then and there. So I prepared a scene from one of the plays I had done in the past. It's called Phandi by Ranveer, and I did that. And he immediately asked, "Acha kisne likha hai? Jante ho?" So I said, "Yeah, sir, I know this is what." And all, and I kept answering, and then he was like, "Acha, ghar hai yahan pe Mumbai mein?" I was like, "No, sir, I don't have a house here." They're like, "तो ढूंढ लो, किराए पे ढूंढ ढूंढ पाओगे?" मैंने कहा, "सर, ढूंढना तो पड़ेगा." "हाँ, तो ठीक है, ढूंढ लो फिर, आ जाओ, तुम्हारा एडमिशन हो गया, ढूंढ लो, घर ढूंढ लो." I was
अरे
like,
वाह.
"Okay, sir," and I find out. So, but then
Hmm.
since then, even after when I passed out of the school, we were always welcome. We used to go back, ask for guidance, ask for advices, and he was always available. And I think those advices helped me a lot. Rather than I wouldn't say that he gave me work, but again, he prepared me well. He
Right.
prepared me so well
Which
for
was
the
more
journey ahead
important, I
that
think, because mentally you're
yeah,
cemented in a certain way.
yes, and there I didn't just understand about acting. I understood about life in general and how to approach an actor's life, because
Right.
an actor's life comes with a lot of pressures, lot of turbulences. It's a very unsteady job. You do one thing, you do not know when you're landing the next one. The gap can be big. So in काम करना बहुत आसान है,
Right.
but to wait in between those gaps is what drives you crazy, because time is ticking, and especially if you're an actor, you keep thinking what time is ticking. This is my prime time. I need to be working. I need to be on the set. I need to be in front of the camera. Those things keep running in your head. And if you need, one needs to deal with these things. So by self-made, I would say to answer that, uh,
Right.
I prepared myself in a way where all these pressures of job and life don't affect me, and I keep going. And I was never just about acting, because like I said, I grew up with creation, so I always loved creating something from scratch, and
Right.
that's where my inclinations landed, and that's how the journey took me to wherever I was. It always was flowing in one direction, subconsciously, and that's how these whole years I was again, and I am still preparing myself for the next phase of my life.
You're
So, and
always
it's
a
a
student.
constant process. Yeah, and you have to be, and
Yeah.
I think that's what I learned from my parents and from my teachers. Yeah,
That's wonderful because you've given us a new paradigm of your personality. Because when you look at the stories of people who've really come from nowhere and have made it really big in Bollywood, I think people respect those personalities only because of how they are and what kind of a struggle they went through. Like Shah Rukh Khan's birthday was very recently, and Shah Rukh Khan has this
yeah,
amazing story of where he comes from, and I think people genuinely respect that over any other story of growth in Bollywood, because ultimately that relatability with a certain person is what makes people great in the industry. Is what I feel. So maybe when
no,
Kher was telling you
absolutely.
to get a house in Mumbai, he was being realistic. Because I've heard my friends who are now cinematographers and they're working in production houses in Mumbai. They tell me that it's impossible to find a house in Mumbai.
Yes, yes, and especially if you're working in the film industry and a bachelor, it's impossible.
So is that true? Is that what happened with you as well? So how did you overcome that?
Yes. Oh, that was very interesting. See, like these are the things that you now remember and smile about and laugh about, and these are the struggles that everyone goes through, and especially I went through, like finding a house, and then it's not just finding out; it's about paying the rent, and you get limited money from the house, because you're not earning at that point of time. And Mumbai is an expensive city to live in; it's very
Yeah.
very expensive. Even if you are not living a very jazzy life, just a simple life is very expensive in general. So then you have to pay the rent, and then if you're an actor, then you need to go to the gym, and you need to follow a diet, and then there's expenses, and then travel expenses.
Correct.
So there's a lot of things that come along with it, and that everything has a cost
And
attached to
initially
it.
आपको शायद
So
एक stable income भी नहीं होगा. I mean, after you sign
नहीं
certain
नहीं नहीं
projects.
होता है. Yeah. I mean, when I came, I was learning. I was in school, so there was no income as such. And even after once you're out of the school, you take time to land a work. ऐसा तो है नहीं कि somebody just sitting there. You go, you do an interview, you have a degree, and you get a job. It's an endless process. So yeah, there was no work, and just looking for work and trying to find some work. घर से I used to get 7,000 rupees, which were about rent also and everything. So my rent was around 5,000 rupees, and I used to be left with 2,000 rupees in my pocket
Right.
to take care of everything else, like from my food to my travel and everything for a month, which was impossible.
This was
One
when
cannot
10,
survive in
12 years ago, a little older.
yeah, 12 years ago, around 2007, maybe 2007, 2008.
Right. वो भी
So
financial crisis था उस समय.
yeah, recession, heavy recession. So uh, yeah, so So what we did was that I had my childhood friend with me, and he used to stay with me. He was doing his MBA, and we used to share a flat. And he's a huge flat, like it was like 3 BHK kind of thing, old flat, बड़ा सा घर था. Rent पे लिया हुआ था हमने. And so what we did was that we used to keep tenants, and so in the spare 2 rooms we used to keep other tenants, and we used to charge them, and then we used to take out our money from them. So that's how we used to manage. So they used to pay our rent. So सारा rent घर का हम tenants को किराए पे दे देकर we used to take out the rent, and that's how we used to save money. And then take used to fill up other courses and other things. Then I used to take up some classes also on the side. Like I had a theater background, so I had जो हमारे theater exercises होते हैं. So I designed a program for corporates, and I was
Okay.
22. I was just 22, and I designed a small little program for corporate to survive and to earn some fast cash on the side. And I used to go and give these workshops, small workshops for a day, for 4 hours, 3 hours to different corporates for these soft skills kind of workshop. So I used to do that, and I used to earn some 10K, sometimes 8K, sometimes, and that's how I survived. So that's what
Right.
was again, it's like how you learn from life and how
Yeah.
life keeps teaching you different things. I never imagined me doing all those things, but then I did.
One more thing for people like you who've struggled from the bottom is that whenever I hear people like you speak, you genuinely want any opportunity that comes knocking on your door because you're in such a situation that you don't have a choice initially. तो जो भी
Yeah.
role मिलेगा वो आप कर लेते हैं. But correct me if I'm wrong. When I look at your filmography, there's a certain imagination, there's a certain thought, there's a little bit of an ideology there as well. So, would you consider that a privilege, or have you actually diversified your role? And it's, probably I'm looking into too much.
I'd uh, I'll philosophize it in a way, and I also keep thinking about it at times, and it surprises me also at times looking at it. Um, there was this one film which never came out, which came out very briefly, which was even before my TV and Love Sex and Dhokha happened, was Ala Udal. And I played Udal in it. Now, Ala Udal is a legend, everybody, it's a they're the historical brothers of Malwa, and, everybody knows Ala गाया जाता है इतना अभी भी वहां पर, so MP में. And there were two like warriors, historical warriors that we had. I started with that. And to begin with, I started with a very small role in a Rajasthani film when I was just out of school. I was 21, maybe I was out of acting school, and it was called Mara Khatu Sham Dhani Data, wherein I played Khatu Sham. Now, he's a big deity in Rajasthan. महाभारत में उनकी कहानी थी जिसमें कृष्ण ने उनको वरदान दिया था,
Okay.
and he's now respected, and there's huge followership of Khatu Sham ji. So again, he's a deity in Rajasthan, and I started with these kind of roles, and maybe I was blessed by God Himself, so that I keep doing these things, and because these things play in your head. I never
Right.
went out looking for them; they just came to me.
Huh.
Uh, but
That's a
I
great
also
blessing,
philosophize.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a great blessing. That's how I consider it. I mean, how many people, how many actors in this industry, especially in Hindi television industry,
Yeah.
have gotten opportunities to play, you know, high budgeted historicals about Chandragupta Maurya, or you get chosen to play Siya Ke Ram, then you play Ram in it, and then you get to play Prithvi Vallabh, again
Right.
a huge historical figure. So I think the kind of ideology or thinking or thought process you have, start attracting similar kind of things then towards you.
Right.
I'll philosophize in that way. And yes, but initially, beggars are not choosers. Initially, when I started my television journey, it started with Gunahon Ka Devta. And I
Hmm.
think then it's how you project yourself onto the screen. Then the makers start seeing, and the audience starts seeing that, oh, okay, these are the kind of roles best suited to this particular actor. These are the kind of stories best
Right.
suited to this particular actor. And then there is a work process behind it, because then slowly everybody starts knowing you as an actor, everybody starts knowing your work process, your work ethics especially. So that's what basically works for you in the long run. It's not what how you look on screen, it's not just performance, it's also how you are off screen, how was your conduct, how what are your work ethics, and then everybody knows about it within the industry within a
Right.
very short period of time. It's a small industry, everybody gets to know, and then makers start putting faith on you, because they know that, oh, okay, if I ride a high budgeted project on this particular actor's shoulders, he will carry it with grace, and he will carry it with honesty, and he
Right.
will carry it with I'd say dedication, so slowly that's what starts the word starts getting round. And I think more than anything, audience especially love that larger than life persona that I portray on screen. And
Mm.
that comes with again, I grew up with these characters in my head when I was a young kid. I used to imagine myself like that, and I used to play skits, and I used to do all kinds of stupid stuff alone, in the backyard. And I was like, it cook up stories, and because these are the stories I kept reading, so आपकी imagination now also starts running like that, and you
Right.
start imagining yourself. So I had imagined myself all these historical warriors, and I grew up like that. So I think that somehow came into the personality, and that somehow starts getting projected onto the
That's
screen, because that's
fantastic.
somewhere in the subconscious. And because you think like that and you believe in these things, and then started attracting these things towards me. And the journey became like that. So if I look at it, so it starts, I think it's blessing of Khatu Shyamji in himself, because I played him in the film in my first ever
Right.
outing as an actor. Very few people know about it. uh, uh, and lucky, and the stroke of luck, and I don't know, it's divine blessing. While the film was being premiered in Raj Mandir in Rajasthan, the Rajasthani film I'm talking about, Khatu Shyam Gani Ratar, the makers of my next film, called Zindagi Tere Naam, uh, came to watch that premiere. And they were from Jaipur, and I didn't know the producers.
Okay.
They watched the film. In the intermission, they came to me like, "अरे आप यहाँ क्या कर रहे हो? आप तो हमारे यहाँ के हो, फलाना ढिमकाना." And then you go to Mumbai and you meet the director. You're shooting a film. That's how I landed my next job,
Okay.
in the intermission of my first job.
और
And
इतना
that's
रेस्पेक्ट
how
भी
the
मिलता है ना,
chain began.
because when you do roles like this, I've seen so many people, for instance, from Mahabharat and other stories that are related to our history in that sense, to Sanatan Dharma. Anybody who portrays that role very seriously, like Kantara, for instance, if you look at
Yeah,
Rishabh Shetty's and how he was actually received by certain people, an interviewer even fell on his feet. So people
mm,
regard you in that way. You get an out of
yeah,
out of the box respect for you, in a sense of speaking, right? So has that happened with you,
yeah.
especially because of the kind of roles that you play?
Yes, yes, that has happened with me. And um, so many incidents, especially when I played Ram, and I think it's a huge privilege for any Bharatiya to play Sri Ram. And
Mm.
by that, I don't mean just any Hindu. By that, I mean any Bharatiya, because I strongly feel that Sri Ram is not just a god for us. He's an emotion, and he is our Sanskriti. He is, because in today's times, uh, he's the biggest influence on any Indian who grows up on this land. Especially because you know it's like when you greet somebody, you say Ram Ram. So that's culture. He is part of that kind of routine for us. जब हमें चोट लगती है हम बोलते हैं हे राम. When we bless somebody, we say राम जी की कृपा हो. When we die, we say Ram Nam Satya Hai. So he's not just a god. He's a culture, and which with that kind of rooting, if you get to play him, I think it's huge privilege, and at the same time a huge responsibility. So
Right.
that you do not go. And you're always scared. I'm always nervous when I'm playing something like I'm anyways nervous when I'm playing any character, not
Right.
on cam but off cam, and that kind of helps me. That kind of helps me in my process. But when I was playing Ram, that I was trying to be very very cautious of the fact that I shouldn't, because I myself have those feelings. In
Mm.
my family, I've grown up with those feelings. I shouldn't be hurting anybody else's feelings because I am very much
Correct.
aware of those feelings, those emotions. Um, it's called Shraddha and it's devotion. So I'm aware of that. So I was trying to be very cautious of it. But then midway when we were doing it, obviously the show became a hit and everybody was, applauding and everybody started loving and all that because whatever, because of the, and Ramayana is always Ramayana, so it'll always be love. So there was this one incident happened wherein a family, because we were shooting the show in Hyderabad, in Ramoji, the whole set was in Ramoji. So there was this one family who flew down and they came to the sets, um, and there was this one kid who was on the wheelchair and who was a little mentally disturbed. So he was on the wheelchair and he couldn't move, and his eye, and they had come for that kid, and they said, the parents said that the kid loves you as Ram, and he just want, and he was putting his foot down, he was throwing a fit that I want to see him, so they had brought him. The kid just lit up seeing me on the set. His eyes just lit up, and he was just sitting. He couldn't move, and he was wheelchair bound, and he couldn't
Right.
speak much because of his restrictions and physical restrictions that he had. And but I could see the happiness in his eyes because he was emoting through his eyes. And he wanted to speak something, and the words were not forming. And then I just very uh, nicely, I just wiped his face and gave him a hug, and I said, "Thank you for coming." And he wanted to touch the feet. So he was trying to move from the wheelchair, trying to. He was confused. I should hug him or should touch his feet, or he was just confused. I just hugged him nicely and I said, "It's all right. It's gonna be fine," and all that. And so that was one incident that moved me very much, and that kind of gave me this thing that somehow being an actor can light up somebody's world,
Yeah.
maybe even for a second, maybe even for a moment. If I can give them a moment of happiness, and that's huge for me. And I think that's a blessing for me. I think that is true God's blessing for me, that He
It's
made
really a
me.
blessing. I mean, if you look at it, it's some sort of a superpower that's given to
Yes,
you because
indeed.
people actually regard you, they worship you in a certain way. And do you think these characters consume you sometime in a good way? Because जब भी मैं movie देखता हूँ ना, because I'm a movie buff, so whenever I consume a really really good movie, that character remains with me, or whatever
Yeah.
influence that movie has on me remains with me. And you having portrayed such roles, and you've done it over the last few years, so does it affect your personality in a certain way?
I'd say it molds your thought process in a way every time. Um, for me, whatever I play takes away something from me and leaves something in me. It always happens. Unless it's happening, then you're faking it as an actor. And if you're not, then it is bound to happen. Because putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and you start thinking, so then you start world from a very alien perspective, which you have never seen it from. And when you start seeing it from an alien perspective, from a third person's point of view, you're bound to discover so many things in the same similar situations that you have never discovered before, as you. And that's what starts happening with me.
Right.
Yes, and with the kind of roles that I have portrayed over the years, it certainly has given me a different perspective about life, a different perspective about myself, and it has changed me as an individual, wherein I see the world in a different way. Maybe this is not how I see it today. I wouldn't have been seeing it 5 years back, or 3 years back, or 2 years back.
Right.
Today, I am more of, I'd say, these days a lot of debate keeps happening about nationalism and religion and this and that, and a lot of things are happening. Um, so with that respect, because the roles that I have played are pretty much aligned with the same thought process, be it nationalism, be it religion, be it history, be it Sanatan. Uh, I feel that I've become like this poster boy of Sanatan over the years because that's the kind of things that I've been dealing with. I feel today, as an individual, I feel extremely proud to be born on this land because over the years, the kind of things I've portrayed, I had to read a lot of stuff. I had to go through a lot of literature. I had to interact with a lot of people. And I feel no shame in
Right.
saying that I'm a Hindu. I feel no shame in saying that I am Sanatani. I feel no shame in saying that I am a Bharatiya. I feel no shame in using and talking in Hindi also. I think probably I'm the uh, uh, I don't know how many of my colleagues ask for writing. I write in Hindi, in Devanagari, and I love that.
Right.
Uh, I, I, if you go on my social media, most of my posts, most of my interactions are in Hindi, Devanagari.
Correct. Huh.
I speak a lot of Hindi. Wherever I get a chance on public platform, I try to speak in Hindi as much as I can.
Hmm.
Because my thoughts come in that. Not that I'm not comfortable in English, not that I'm not comfortable in any other language. If I learn, I can. But the point is that
Bilkul.
I love that language. First of all, I have no shame in using it. I'm proud of speaking my own language. I'm proud of wearing my own identity with with aplomb. And I am not somebody. I would like to promote as much as I can in my capacity the fact that uh, uh, feeling proud about your own identity is there is no shame in it. And we
Very
are
rightly said.
and we are in a way made to feel embarrassed of who we are. I mean, you're
हाँ.
from South India. Okay, Sharan, you're from South India.
हाँ.
I'm
मुझे
110%
पता है.
sure you are bullied for that.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. Yeah, everyone is. We know that. We know that for fact. And but what is? But the moment you stop feeling ashamed of something which you are made to feel ashamed about, the bullying goes away because then you are not
Wonderfully
taking it
said.
anymore. It's just that simple, and you have to be proud about it. And I think over the years, this is what my journey has done to me. I was always proud. I've become prouder, and I've become vocal about it. That I feel no shame, and I try to use my position as an actor and as a public in public domain as much as I can to convey to today's youth, especially that feel proud of who you are. You don't need to be in any westernized race. You are very much safe on your own land. Speak in the language, whatever language that you speak in. Wear what you want to wear. Eat what you want to eat. Eat with hands. There is no shame in it. Eat dal bhat. Eat rice chawal. Eat whatever you want to eat and be proud about it.
Absolutely. No, that's a fascination. That's a fascinating thing what you just told me, because not a lot of actors, a lot of actors are very shy with how they portray their identity. They try to be woke these days. वो moral lecturing होता है Bollywood से, which we actually hate. And I mean, I hope we can discuss about this. And which is what I mean. I mean,
Yeah.
the identity that you assume very boldly, it's not threatening to somebody else, and which is what I really like about what you just said. So वो कभी आपको इंडस्ट्री में तकलीफ हुआ है आपको because of your identity being looked down upon? And many have told me no, it's not. So what's your experience?
No, actually, no, ऐसा है नहीं industry में. It's about finding your own space and being proud about it.
Right.
There are so many actors, but in industry, there is certainly a thought process about it. There is a notion about it. There are labels that people put on you, um, and that's why I chose to be in a certain way. I wanted to give answer, and I wanted to change that. Uh, First of all, I'll tell you what usually happens there. What happens there is that if you speak in Hindi. Okay, if you're a Hindi speaking actor, let's say, and you're not that good in English, people look down upon you and you are a Garib theater actor. That's the label. Okay.
अच्छा.
Uh, then, if for you to be in the A League and to be, invited to certain parties and, people trying to hobnob with you, So you need to look a certain way, behave a certain way, possess certain qualities, which are like speaking in English, wearing Western clothes, eating
Yeah.
Thai, Chinese food, going to a certain kind of gym, having certain kind of lifestyle, having a high-end car, a good penthouse or a house in certain areas of the city. And I
Yeah.
tried to break all those things in my own little way, because subtly somewhere down the line, I felt offended. Not for me, because nobody did that to me. I felt offended as an individual. I felt offended as an Indian. I felt offended as a fellow actor to another actors when people did that to other actors. Uh, so I found a very nice, sweet way of changing that, and that is, you cannot fight things by just by force. I think
Right.
you can fight things or change things by being part of them, and then subtly not responding to those things, and then subtly doing things your own way. Then the atmosphere starts changing around you. So especially on my sets, wherever I am working, I insist on I talk in English without even telling somebody to talk in English or Hindi. I start conversating in Hindi. So then everybody starts conversating in Hindi, and then the atmosphere changes.
Uh,
uh, I, I I don't put pressure on other actors to to behave in a certain way, or to
right.
I don't demand certain things. I'd very nicely just sit outside on a chair under a tree. There are small things that you do, so people around you start following them, and the atmosphere starts changing. It starts getting relaxed. People start getting relaxed,
Right.
because inside that is who we are. We try to put on a facade just because those are the things that they need.
Yeah.
Especially while I'm interacting with media, if not necessary, I have no qualms with English. If
Yeah.
not necessary, I'd prefer talking in Hindi. Uh, but not that I cannot communicate in English. I'm equally fluent in English. But these are the things that when you start following, people start following them themselves, and then you
Correct.
start doing things your own way. So rather than fighting and cribbing and naming people, if you want to fight labels, then very quietly, politely, you start rubbing them off.
Correct.
Uh,
I
uh,
mean, Bollywood
and
that
then
way is itself a big boss house. Like all kinds of characters are there,
yeah,
and I think people are looking
yes, yeah,
through
that
them.
everybody looks, people look through people, and
Correct.
they ultimately get to understand. It's just that earlier there was not much access to actors. Now there is a lot of access to people, and actors are, especially, I think, hope they realize that more they are putting themselves on social media, more they are getting exposed,
Yeah.
more their masks are getting off. See, because that's what it is. Actors, especially, they create an image of yourself.
Yeah.
They'll just create that image and they want to live by it. But the more you put yourself out on social media in front of public, people will get to see the real you, and they will see through
Right.
you. So either you have to be brilliant at creating that facade, or then don't create it and be you and be who you are, and just be proud about it. What's the point? What's the
Right.
point trying to fit in into something which just robs you of your own identity, and then you're living as somebody else all your life. I mean, it's quite
Yeah.
confusing. Just be you, live as who you are.
हाँ, मुझे भी लगता है that when I look at certain people from the industry who are basically open, in a sense, they're intellectually honest, they're morally uncompromised. I think people will forgive them and also accept their opinions even if they don't like it. Like Sushant Singh Rajput, he was somebody who was like that. He was brilliant as a person, of what he was passionate about and what he used to do, what he used to speak about. And I think people really took a liking to him because of that. And I see a little bit of that character in you. I mean, a little bit, matlab, I don't mean to offend you, but obviously I see that reflection of Sushant in you. So has anybody told you, because it's relatable in a way, in which Sushant also grew in the industry, and how his personality and his character was. I see that in you, to be honest, from the last few minutes of our conversation.
Yeah, a lot of I've in the last couple of months, especially when I was touring for Hindutva around the country. Uh, and I was interacting a lot with general audience. There were a lot of meets that were happening. There, I got to hear the same emotion from a lot of people. Uh, I think it came out. This emotion is coming out now only because the common middle class people see their representative there in the film industry, or on a pedestal. So that's the emotion, I think, that kind of correlates with Sushant. He was also from humble background, and from television, same journey like mine. I'm from
Correct.
nowhere, and television, and then going to films, uh, and no one's perfect in that sense. No one's perfect. Everyone's human. Nobody is Ram. Nobody can be Ram. But we all can be the best version of ourselves, and that's what I'm trying to be, and that's how they see. Because I think they see their dreams getting realized through somebody else's journey, and that's where they connect. And I think also the connect is that if somebody like this, somebody like me, somebody like Sushant can achieve this, so can they, and so can
Right.
their children or their relatives or their people. And I was just recently in Rajasthan, in Sikar, in a literature fest speaking, and there were little kids all around. Sikar is a small little town in Rajasthan, not
Yeah.
even that exposed to a lot of things. It's near to Jaipur, 2 hours from Jaipur, and the kids there had the similar emotions. And they were they were seeing me sitting on the stage, and I told them that, well, when I was in fifth standard, I was in this city, and I had studied in this city when I was in fifth standard. And today I'm sitting here on the stage, and you guys are there. So it's the same journey you guys can also have, and that's where they were relating, because
Correct.
nothing is impossible, and realizing your dreams. If I can do it, anybody can do it, and I think that's the correlation the public is now
Right.
started having because of the similar kind of journey, and that similar correlation of that common man's dream. I think that's what the connection is.
When you told me that you believe in being a part of an institution and changing it from within, I saw that underpinning in the philosophical origins of Hindutva, as a movie. Because from what I could see, that is essentially the framework with which it was coming. So tell us more about Hindutva, how it came about, and what was your intention, especially because the landscape of movies in Bollywood is changing so rapidly.
I First of all, when it was offered to me, I was surprised that somebody has the guts to even make a film like this in Hindi film industry, because people are just scared. I'll tell you, people are just scared of any kind of backlash. They want to play safe. Everybody's politically correct. Nobody wants to just go out there and I don't know, speak on it, or they see that trouble. Now that is where my problem started. What is the trouble in Hindutva? Now that is the thought process that really bothered me. Was that if you keep a name Hindutva, it becomes controversial. You don't even know what the film is about. It's
Correct.
just the title, and it just becomes controversial because the term has been radicalized. It has been
Yeah.
orchestratedly termed in an extreme way, and that is where my problem began. And it has nothing to do with me as an actor. It has everything to do with me as an individual, and the kind of thought process I have as an individual towards my nation, towards this whole ideology. I'm not saying that oh, I hate liberals and that whole secular and urban Naxalites and all that debate that keeps happening. I have a different point of view with regards to that. I'll keep that aside. With respect to the film Hindutva, my only thought process was that let's do this only and only for one thing, and that is let's try and see what it does to the film industry, what it does to my audience, how they will perceive me. People advised me against the film. They said, "Don't do this film. This will label you." I was like, I've been fighting labels all my life. First, I was
Right.
fighting an outsider's label. Then I was fighting a successful TV actor's label. And it's all right. I don't give two hoots about these labels. I've fought them all my life, and I don't care about. I'll rather have another label on me and then live with it. It's okay. So and I'll be happy about it if I'm labeled as a this new nationalist actor. Fine, I'm okay with
No, but you've also
it.
broken
So
those
what?
labels by doing amazing, movies like Khejdi, I think. Am I
So
pronouncing
that's
it
what.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Khejdi, right? Yeah, yeah. I've faced them all my life और यहाँ पर होते हैं वो. I mean, when I moved here, nobody knew me. I did LSD and then I did TV and then I was very
Yeah.
popular in TV. Then people started saying, "Oh, he's a popular TV actor. Let's not take him." I was like, "Fine, don't take me. I'll make my own film." I made my own film, and then Hindutva happened, and then Modi happened. Series as a series. I played Modi, Narendra Modi in a series called Modi, and again, then again people start seeing you as, oh, he's a right wingist. He's still playing Modi. He's played Ram. He's doing Hindutva. I'm sorry, but nobody is giving me any other thing. I did not have those scripts. I had the script. I got these were the best ones. I did them. So, is something wrong in that? I did not get Heather. If I would have gotten Heather, I would have probably done it.
Right.
What's wrong in that?
Because as an
But
artist, you want to
that's
be
not.
open to everything. Yeah.
Yeah, as an actor, I would have explored that. It would have given me different layers to explore. But fine. But as far as Hindutva is concerned, that is where my whole problem began. Is that why people have termed this little term as a radical term, and there is a orchestrated narrative moving around, trying to prove Hindutva as a very radical movement.
Correct.
And because you cannot break it, you cannot fight it, you cannot fight with the ideology, you cannot do anything because it is so strong right now since past couple of years. It's not couple of years. It has been strong for thousands and zillions of years. That is why it has never been able to move out of this place. People have come to this place, they have embraced it, lived, and they are living with it, and we are living with it. It's not that it is a couple of years ago's thingy that is there, and then you'll try to fight it with some stupid ideologies and try to
Right.
create something around it. So that's where my problem is, and it's deep rooted in me as a Bharati. It's deep rooted in me as a Sanatani. I've grown up with these kind of beliefs. I don't believe in radicalization of anything, for that matter of fact, and nobody wants that kind of thing, around them.
Right.
Nobody, no Bharatiya would want a radical element around them. But again, to fight, my whole approach is again very rightly put by you, to fight that. I cannot take out placards and fight it. Nothing is going to happen with placards. Nobody is looking at them. You have to fight it. You have to be the change. Then try and do something. Don't tweet about it. Tweet is not going to solve anything. Then try and get onto the floor and try and do something. Get on the field. In my capacity, this was my play area. This is where I could get onto the field, and this is where I could do something to whatever thought process that I had to put forth.
Uh,
And that's why I did Hindutva.
this is a very rare thing, Ashish bhai, that somebody, an actor of your stature, is saying, "Arey, मैदान पे उतरो, tweet मत करो," because most of them,
हाँ,
their
मतलब क्या
activities
फायदा
are
है उससे?
because most of their activities
नहीं,
are all Twitter based. अब दीपावली पे एक tweet होता है, Christmas पे एक नहीं होता है, वो
no, but
positive
that's
होता
marketing, no.
है.
But that's marketing. Fine, you do your marketing. Fine, everybody wants to do marketing. I do myself, but it's fine.
हाँ,
But then, if very strongly, it's not that your ideology is wrong. No, nobody's saying that. I'm not saying that somebody else's ideology is wrong.
पर ये
I am saying
criticism भी
if you
नहीं लेते
truly
ना.
believe in it, then go and do something about it rather than just sitting and talking about it. And it's not going to solve anything. अगर
Right.
आपको ये भी लगता है कि वो फलानी एक्टिविटी फलाना ये जो भी XYZ आइडियोलॉजी इज नॉट गुड, फाइन, बट देन आई कैन सी द सेम अबाउट योर आइडियोलॉजी, इट्स नॉट गुड, then
Correct.
let's debate about it, let's talk about it, do
It's an
something.
equal footing. Yeah. You're not demanding more
Yeah,
or less. You're just saying if you have opinion, so do I. So, which is what I
yeah.
think we've been telling. Media industry maybe I think it's somewhat of a similar situation because it's become so polarized that on one end you have certain channels which are leaning towards right. On the other hand, you have sharp polarization towards the left. But anyway, that debate is for another day. Tell us your plans for the future, and then we'll probably wrap up.
future looks bright to me, and I hope. I have a series lined up, which is again home production, already shot in post production right now. Very nice slice of life comedy.
Okay.
You'll see me in a very never seen before kind of a thing that I'm doing in there. Again, speaks again. I as an actor, as a creator, as a maker, I strongly feel that whatever that I put out, audience should take away something from it. It's not it doesn't have to be a message. It can be a simple emotion that you take home
Right.
and you feel it or think about it and mull over it. Either you go with a smile or you go with a tear in your eye or just with a heavy heart, but just go with something. Take away something from whatever I create, and it has to have a meaning in that way. So,
Right.
and yes, it has to be entertaining, and so that's exactly what we are dealing with in that series. And I can't name it right now, but yeah, it's again a nice family. Urban setup, which will deal with young couple problems that we have, and try to bring out this new nuclear family setup जो हो गया है हमारा, and again
Right.
trying to talk about it and trying to bring it to a point where we again go back to our families, and that whole detachment that has come into these today's urban couple, that kind of needs to go away, and they need to come back
Yeah.
to the families and our family value system. That's what we talk about in this series. Then there's another, there are two couple of other one series and another digital film which is lined up, go on floor very soon in a couple of months. So yeah, that's how the lineup looks like right now, and we are happy creating stuff ourselves, me and Archana. We are writing, we are creating,
Right.
acting, and yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's exciting
Now you
times
become
for
a
us
triple
because
threat.
no, no, no. We are just trying to enjoy ourselves. See, that's what I said. When God gives you a platform or a privilege,
Yeah.
then use it to its fullest and use it the best way you can to give it to the platform that you are on. It's not just about giving it back to the society, but as a part of entertainment industry, I'd like to give it back to the industry itself by trying to create things that, as an industry, we can be proud of and we
Right.
can talk about and we can be happy about.
Very good luck with your future projects, and I'll sit and binge watch all of your movies and all of the other work that you've done. Ashish bhai, I really liked your vibe. You're somebody who's very welcoming. और पता चल जाता है because we keep on interviewing so many people, and especially actors, I try to avoid interviewing because there's no intellectual depth. Firstly, and the other reasons are also there, but mainly because there is no intellectual depth, so we are not attracted towards it. But it's really fascinating because I think your philosophical origins have also been molded by your upbringing, your sort of struggle into the industry itself, and that has also reflected both in your personal life and in the projects that you undertake. And I'm sure the future is very bright for you and people like you in the industry. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us this opportunity. And I hope everybody goes and watches Aashiesh Bhai's movie Hindutva, which has been released very recently. And it's a very bold take on the ideological discourses today in India, which some people shy away from because some of us who've even been in this field, in a field where opinions dominate anything else, we were called closet sangees because we had certain opinions and we couldn't really portray it in a certain way. And today there are movies which are boldly portraying it. So there is a
Yes.
sense of true freedom of speech and expression. So I think that is what the movie is also trying to portray. I would also like you to make an appeal, to watch the movie to our audience, and please tell them to subscribe क्योंकि उनको लगता है ये ससुराल है उनका. जब भी अच्छे कंटेंट आता है आके देख के चले जाते हैं. अरे याद ही नहीं रखते हैं.
Oh, yeah, I with folded hands, I request all of you to go and watch the film as well. And more importantly, please subscribe to Swarajya and kindly do that. And even if you consider it as your sasural, so you have to sasural में शगुन देना पड़ता है. So you go and shagun dijiye and subscribe to Swarajya. And I've had wonderful time chatting with you, Sharan. And it's very rare with the platform, with the media platform, that that you can really share what you truly feel about, truly, and you can share not just about entertainment, but you can share about your philosophy and your ideologies, and whatever that I believe in. And thank you so much for this lovely, insightful session that we've had. And I hope your audiences love it and you love it. And I'll
I'm sure
speak
they
to
will
you
love
pretty
it.
soon.
I love this conversation, and I hope we can be in touch and have conversations in the future as well. अगर आप बैंगलोर आए तो बता दीजिए. I would love to come and meet you down in person, and we can probably plan another episode in person क्योंकि I'm tired of doing these Zoom
Oh,
calls all
wonderful.
the time.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. Raman.
Thank you so much. Namaste,
Thank
Jai
you.
Hind,
Thank you.
Jai Shri
Thank you.
Ram.
Thank you. Cheers. Jai Shri Ram. Bye bye.